Many people have goals, but very few people stay focused long enough to reach them. Have you ever started a goal with excitement, full of energy and motivation, only to slowly lose focus after a few weeks? At the beginning, everything feels clear. You create plans, imagine the future, and promise yourself that this time things will be different. For a while it works. People often begin with strong motivation. They set goals, write plans, and feel excited about the possibility of change. Maybe they want to learn English, improve their career, build a new skill, or develop a healthier routine. During the first few days, progress feels natural. But after some time, something begins to change. Distractions slowly appear. Work becomes busy. Notifications interrupt attention. Social media takes a few minutes that turn into much longer breaks. At the same time, motivation slowly decreases. The goal that once felt exciting now begins to feel distant. Focus becomes weaker, and attention starts moving in many different directions. When this happens, many people begin to feel confused. They may feel less motivated than before, even though the goal is still important to them. Some people feel stuck between many ideas. They want to move forward, but their attention keeps shifting. Eventually, they begin asking themselves an uncomfortable question. Why can't I stay focused? This question often leads to another belief. Many people start thinking that the problem is discipline. They may tell themselves, maybe I'm just not disciplined enough. Others believe that successful people simply have stronger willpower. But in many cases, this explanation is not accurate. The real problem is often something different. Sometimes people face too many distractions in their environment. Phones, notifications, and constant information compete for attention every minute. In other situations, priorities are unclear. When several goals compete at the same time, the brain struggles to decide where to focus. And often there is simply no clear system for protecting attention. Without structure, focus becomes fragile. The good news is that focus is not a mysterious talent that only a few people possess. It is a skill that can be developed and protected with simple habits. In this video, you will learn why people often lose focus on their goals and how the brain reacts to distractions in everyday life. You will also discover simple strategies that help protect your attention and guide it toward what truly matters. Most importantly, you will see how small daily habits can make a powerful difference in staying focused. But before we talk about those solutions, let's first look at a situation that happens to many people when they try to follow their goals. Imagine someone starting a new goal. Maybe they want to learn English. Maybe they want to improve their career, start a healthier routine, or build a new skill that could change their future. At the beginning, everything feels exciting. They make a plan and promise themselves something important. This time I will stay consistent. For the first few days, things go well. They follow their schedule, complete small tasks, and feel proud of their progress. The goal seems possible, and motivation feels strong. But after a short time, the situation slowly begins to change. Work becomes busy. Daily responsibilities take more time than expected. At the same time, phones become constant sources of distraction. A message appears. A notification pops up. A short video leads to another video. What started as a quick break becomes a longer distraction. New ideas also appear. Someone reads about a different skill they want to learn. They discover another interesting project. Suddenly their attention moves in several directions at the same time. Gradually, focus begins to disappear. The goal that once felt exciting now receives less attention. Instead of working on the main task, people begin doing many smaller and less important things. This leads to a very common pattern of behavior. People start checking social media more often. They switch between tasks instead of completing one task fully. Important work gets delayed again and again. Sometimes they tell themselves they will start later in the day. Sometimes they promise to restart tomorrow. Inside, their emotions begin to change. They may feel frustrated because they know they are capable of doing more. Self-doubt may appear as they begin questioning their discipline. Motivation becomes weaker because progress slows down. This creates a cycle that many people experience. First there is excitement about the goal. Then distractions appear, and attention moves away. Focus becomes weaker, important work gets delayed, and eventually feelings of guilt begin to appear. The person realizes they are not moving forward as they expected. Over time, this cycle can create bigger consequences. Some people abandon their goals completely. Others lose confidence in their ability to stay consistent. Many begin believing that they simply do not have enough discipline to achieve what they want. But this belief is often incorrect. The real reason people lose focus is not a lack of intelligence or ambition. It is deeply connected to how the brain manages attention. To understand why staying focused is so difficult, we need to look at how the brain naturally works. The brain tends to follow what feels easiest. This is an important insight. In many situations, distractions feel easier than focused work. Activities that require little effort often attract our attention much more quickly than tasks that demand concentration. When you work toward a goal, your brain must use energy. It must think carefully, solve problems, and stay engaged with one task for a longer period of time. This requires patience and mental effort. Distractions, on the other hand, are designed to feel simple and rewarding. The brain naturally prefers quick rewards. It also enjoys new information and activities that require very little effort. For example, when a notification appears on your phone, curiosity immediately appears. Your brain wonders what the message might be. When you open social media, you see many new images, short videos, and pieces of information. Each one gives a small feeling of reward. Entertainment works in a similar way. These activities provide fast stimulation, which the brain enjoys. The problem is that these quick rewards often pull attention away from long-term goals. Goals usually require a different type of thinking. They require patience, effort, and the ability to focus on something for a longer period of time. Progress toward a goal often happens slowly, which means the brain must stay engaged without immediate rewards. Because of this difference, distractions can easily win the competition for attention. A helpful way to understand focus is through a simple metaphor. Focus is like a flashlight. Where you point the flashlight determines what you can see. If the light stays on one object, that object becomes clear and visible. But if the light keeps moving from place to place, nothing stays bright long enough to become clear. Attention works in the same way. If your attention constantly jumps between tasks, your progress remains scattered. But when your attention stays in one place long enough, real progress becomes possible. This leads to an important insight. Focus grows when attention is protected. Instead of trying to force discipline through willpower alone, it is often more effective to protect your attention from constant distractions. Clear priorities also help the brain stay focused. When you know exactly what matters most, it becomes easier to guide your attention toward that goal. In simple terms, your attention determines the direction of your progress. Your goals become real when your attention stays consistent. But understanding this idea becomes much easier when we see it in a real situation. So let's look at a simple story that shows how focus can change someone's progress. Let's look at a simple story that shows how focus can change the way people work toward their goals. Emily was a university student with many ambitions. She was curious, hardworking, and always thinking about her future. Like many students, she had several goals at the same time. She wanted to improve her English, so she could communicate confidently in international environments. She also needed to prepare for important exams at university. At the same time, she hoped to develop skills that could help her build a strong career after graduation. All of these goals were important to her. But Emily faced a problem that many people experience. She struggled to stay focused. When she sat down to study, she often started with good intentions. She opened her books, prepared her notes, and told herself that she would concentrate for the next hour. But only a few minutes later, something else would capture her attention. She checked her phone to read a message. After that, she opened social media for a quick look. One short video became several videos. Sometimes she switched from studying English to reviewing another subject, and then to searching for something else online. Her attention moved from one task to another. Hours passed, but when she looked back at her work, she realized something surprising. She had spent a lot of time studying, but she had made very little progress. This situation frustrated her. Emily began wondering why focusing felt so difficult. She believed she was working hard, but the results did not match her effort. One day she spoke about this problem with a mentor at her university. After listening carefully, the mentor gave her a very simple piece of advice. He said, "You cannot focus on everything. You must choose one priority." At first, Emily felt unsure. She had many goals and believed all of them were important. But the mentor explained something important. When attention is divided between too many tasks, the brain cannot focus deeply on any of them. Progress becomes slow because energy is constantly switching from one activity to another. Emily decided to try a different approach. Instead of working on many things at once, she started setting one clear priority for each study session. When she wanted to improve her English, she focused only on English practice during that time. She also made several small changes in her environment. She began studying in a quiet place where there were fewer distractions. She turned off notifications on her phone and kept it away from her desk while studying. Most importantly, she trained herself to focus on one task at a time. When she practiced English listening, she concentrated only on that activity. When she reviewed vocabulary, she avoided opening other apps or websites. At first, the change felt challenging. Her brain was used to constant switching. But after several days, she noticed something different. Her study sessions felt deeper. Instead of jumping between tasks, she could stay with one activity longer. She began understanding lessons more clearly and remembering information more easily. After several weeks, the results became visible. Her progress in English improved. Her exam preparation became more effective. She also felt more confident because she could see real improvement in her work. The most interesting part of Emily's story was this. Her intelligence did not change. Her abilities were always there. What changed was her focus. By protecting her attention and choosing clear priorities, she created the conditions for progress. And this led to a powerful realization. When her attention became focused, her goals finally started moving forward. Emily's experience shows something very important about focus and progress. Many people believe that success depends mostly on motivation or discipline. But in reality, focus often depends on clarity, attention, and the way we approach our goals. From this story, we can learn 3 powerful principles that help people stay focused on what truly matters. Lesson 1. Clarity creates focus. One of the biggest reasons people lose focus is that their goals are not clear enough. When goals are vague or too broad, the brain does not know exactly where to direct attention. For example, saying, "I want to improve my life," or "I want to be successful" sounds positive, but these goals are not specific enough to guide daily action. Because the direction is unclear, attention easily moves from one idea to another. Clear goals work differently. When a goal is specific, the brain understands what to focus on. For example, "I will practice English for 20 minutes each day," is much clearer than simply saying, "I want better English." Clarity helps the brain decide what matters most. It reduces confusion and makes it easier to take action. This is why many successful people spend time defining their priorities carefully. When the goal becomes clear, daily actions become easier to choose. This leads to the first important principle. Clear goals guide clear actions. When you know exactly what you are working toward, your attention naturally moves in that direction. Lesson 2. Protect your attention. Another important lesson is that attention is limited. Every day, your brain receives hundreds of small signals competing for attention. Messages, notifications, emails, news updates, and social media all try to capture your focus. Each time attention shifts, mental energy is used. If this happens too frequently, it becomes difficult to stay engaged with meaningful work. Even short distractions can interrupt concentration and slow progress. For example, imagine someone studying while checking their phone every few minutes. Each time they look at the phone, their brain must restart the thinking process again. This constant interruption reduces productivity and weakens focus. Protecting attention means creating conditions where distractions are reduced. This might include turning off notifications, placing the phone away from the workspace, or working in an environment that supports concentration. When distractions decrease, attention becomes stronger. This idea can be summarized in a powerful sentence. Where attention goes, progress follows. When your attention consistently moves toward your goals, progress becomes almost inevitable. Lesson 3. Focus on one step at a time. Large goals can sometimes feel overwhelming. When people think about everything they must do in order to succeed, the task may appear too big or complicated. This feeling can reduce motivation and make it difficult to start. A helpful strategy is breaking large goals into smaller steps. Instead of focusing on the entire journey, focus only on the next action. Small tasks are easier for the brain to process, and completing them creates a sense of progress. For example, if someone wants to improve their English, they might focus on one small activity, such as learning 5 new words or practicing speaking for 10 minutes. Each small step moves the goal forward. Over time, these small actions accumulate and produce significant results. This leads to the final principle. Small focused actions move big goals forward. When clarity guides attention and attention supports small actions, progress becomes steady and sustainable. And the good news is that these principles are not difficult to apply. With a few practical habits, anyone can strengthen their focus and move closer to their goals. Understanding the principles of focus is helpful, but real improvement happens when these ideas are applied in daily life. Focus is not built through motivation alone. It develops through small habits that guide your attention in the right direction. Here are several practical steps that can help you stay focused on your goals. Step 1. Define one clear priority. The first step is choosing one clear priority. Many people try to work on too many goals at the same time. They want to improve several areas of their life simultaneously. While ambition is good, too many priorities can confuse the brain. When attention is divided between many goals, it becomes difficult to concentrate on any of them deeply. Instead, choose one goal that matters most right now. Ask yourself a simple question. What is the most important goal I want to focus on during this period? Once that priority is clear, it becomes easier to direct your energy and attention toward it. You can still have other goals, but one main goal should guide your daily actions. The purpose of this step is to reduce mental confusion and create clear direction. Step 2. Remove distractions. The next step is protecting your attention from distractions. Modern life is full of interruptions. Notifications appear on phones, social media invites constant scrolling, and new information appears every minute. These distractions can easily pull your attention away from meaningful work. To protect your focus, it is helpful to reduce these interruptions intentionally. For example, you can turn off unnecessary notifications while working. You can place your phone away from your desk so it does not attract attention. Creating a quiet workspace can also help the brain associate that environment with concentration. Limiting social media during focus periods is another powerful habit. When distractions decrease, your brain can stay engaged with the task longer. The purpose of this step is to protect your attention. Step 3. Use focused work sessions. Another helpful method is using focused work sessions. Instead of trying to work for many hours without a break, divide your time into smaller periods of deep concentration. One popular approach is the 25-minute focus session. During these 25 minutes, you work on one task only. No checking messages, no switching between activities, and no distractions. After the session ends, you take a short break. Then you begin another focus session. This method trains the brain to concentrate deeply for a specific period of time. Over time, your ability to stay focused becomes stronger. The purpose of this step is to train deep concentration. Step 4. Track progress. The final step is tracking your progress. When people can see their progress clearly, motivation becomes stronger. Small achievements create a sense of movement toward the goal. You can track progress using simple tools such as a journal, a habit tracker, or a daily checklist. Each day you record the actions you completed toward your goal. Over time, these records show how your effort is growing. Tracking progress also builds accountability. When you see your habits on paper, it becomes easier to stay consistent. The purpose of this step is to make improvement visible. And when these small steps are repeated every day, something powerful happens. Focused attention turns small actions into meaningful progress. As we reach the end of this discussion, let's pause for a moment and reflect on the most important message of this video. Many people believe success comes from working harder or doing more things every day. But in reality, success rarely comes from simply increasing effort. It usually comes from focusing on what truly matters. When attention is scattered across too many tasks, progress becomes slow and unclear. But when attention is directed toward one meaningful goal, even small actions begin to create visible change. Focus turns effort into progress. Now take a moment to think about your own life and your own goals. Ask yourself a simple question. What goal do you want to focus on right now? Maybe it is improving your English. Maybe it is developing a new skill, improving your health, or working toward a career opportunity. Once you have that goal in mind, ask yourself another important question. What small action can move you closer to that goal today? The action does not need to be large or complicated. Sometimes a small step is enough to begin building momentum. Remember that every successful person once faced the same challenge. They experienced distractions. They struggled to stay consistent. They sometimes felt overwhelmed by too many choices. But they learned something important. They learned how to protect their attention. By focusing on what matters most, they slowly transformed small daily actions into meaningful progress. If this video helped you reflect on your goals, you can take one small step right now. Share your reflection in the comments. Write one sentence like this. One goal I want to focus on is. If you found this video helpful, you can also leave a like so more learners can discover it. And if you enjoy learning English while exploring ideas about personal growth, consider subscribing to Inspire English Stories. Let's finish with one final thought. Your goals grow in the direction of your attention. Protect your focus, and your future will begin to change.